Namaste, my name is Shailaja. This is the sixth part I'm making in the series of the masculine and feminine energies. In case you have not watched my earlier videos on this topic, I'll post the link in the description box below. Please go through the earlier 5 parts for a comprehensive understanding on this subject. But even otherwise, this can be watched separately. Today, I'll be talking about how the masculine and feminine energies exist in harmony and balance in the universe, and how we can tap into this to balance our own inner masculine and feminine energies so that we come into balance and harmony within ourselves. Everything in the universe, things, phenomenon, beings, they're in a dynamic state. The only thing that is constant is change. Life is a process. And the macrocosm that underlines the universe is based on the principles of balance and harmony. And it is these principles, this balance and harmony, which allows the microcosm to change constantly and evolve constantly. The universe is built on polarities: male, female, up, down, dark, light, north, south. Though these seem mutually antagonistic, on a closer look, they are actually complementary in nature. Life is all about moving from one pole to another pole. And it is only when we achieve harmony in between the polar opposites we can evolve spiritually. The balance and harmony which you see at a macrocosmic level, that should get reflected within our inner body. When that gets reflected within ourselves, we too evolve spiritually. On earth, that is third dimension, we all communicate through language. We speak and we communicate. In the same way, the universe, it communicates through images, through symbols. All energy, sounds, codes, everything gets converted into images. And these images, they carry a lot of vibration. They carry a lot of information. And these are accessible to the person who has opened his pineal gland and who is using his third eye. So generally a normal person operates in three states, that is the wakeful state, the dream state and the deep sleep state. But when a person goes beyond these three states and when he's in a deep meditative state or when he's in a very intuitive state, he starts receiving these symbols. Our DNA is the trans receiver of this information. The sounds, light that we receive, they help harmonize and balance our inner polarities at both the physical and mental level and even at the soul level. Here I posted some pictures of images. If you look at the top row, you will see a number of images that a person will see while they're undergoing a spiritual awakening. These images are received either in the dream state or meditative or deep intuitive states. And these images have a strong connection with where you are right now in your spiritual progression. And the other things that these images reveal to you is that your body is not just physical. It, for example, you will see water symbols, you will see fire symbols, you will see air symbols, and all this, it tells you, the universe is telling you that your body is made up of 5 elements, the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air and space. In the same way, you will see many archetypal or divine forms. Many call them as archetypal beings, but I think they are divine beings. I see them as gods and goddesses. So you will see many of them in your spiritual evolution because they're telling you that your body is a temple and we exist within your body at various levels with the chakras. So when your chakras are getting activated, many of these archetypal or the divine conscious energies that exist in that chakra come to life within your system. So when you evolve spiritually, the universe has a way in telling you that you're not just the physical person who's caught up in daily mundane life activities. Rather, your body, your physical body, your mental body, and your soul as such is a container of the divine force. And this is what gets expressed in various symbols that the universe is sending to you while you are in your awakening process. It's trying to wake you up from the sleep that or the attachment that you have to the physical body. And it is trying to tell you you're beyond that. You are a divine being, and your body is a container of divine consciousness. If they look at the lower row, you will see geometrical designs: the upper triangle, the lower triangle, circle, square, and a dot. These are the building blocks for the sacred geometry or the images that you see at the intuitive state or in your meditative states. And each of these symbols has a specific meaning. The upper triangle represents the masculine energy, the lower triangle represents the feminine energy, the circle represents the time or the continuation, square represents grounding, and then the dot represents the bindu, that is the unity of all consciousness. Entire sacred geometry or mandalas that you see, or the yantras on which a person focuses his attention and prays to, they're all built on these basic building blocks. So, how are these geometric patterns? How are they created in the universe? We all know that the universe is created from sound. Sound, though it is invisible, it carries geometrical patterns within it. The oscillations, the back and forth movement of these sound waves in the metaphysical realm or in the time space or the fourth dimension, that has an impact on the third dimension. So, this movement which happens beyond the third dimension, it creates standing waves in our dimension. And these standing waves, the interference of these standing waves, creates many different patterns which you see. These patterns, when they are in the subtle form, you can see the picture 3, they look like that. But these subtle forms, when the vibration starts getting denser and denser, that is, as I told you, that the subtler level, the vibration is very high. But at the grosser level, the vibration gets low. So when the vibration gets low, atoms start forming, molecules start forming, denser structures start forming. So these structures become the structures, the gross structures that you see around yourself in the earthly plane. Even our body is made like this. Here you can see an image too where there are many standing waves or sound waves. These hold the matter in position for a structure to form. If you look at image 3, you will see many different subtle structures that are formed. These are energetic in nature. And how are they formed? A small experiment is, if you look at image 1, where you place fine sand particles on a plate and you vibrate the plate, the sand particles get agitated and they move and they form patterns. And these patterns are formed along the lines of the force field. So, wherever the force field is active, these lines get formed. And these are how structures are built at a basic level in the universe. When I speak about the third dimension, I'm talking about the physical existence, Earth, where everything is physical in nature and the vibration is less. And when I speak about fourth dimension, I mean the subtler level where the vibration is high. It is not physical in nature, it is more subtle. And this level or this dimension communicates with us through sacred geometry. Now, I was explaining to you how the interference of standing waves creates many different patterns, which you can see here. Now, these patterns at a subtler level look like the image which is there in the lower side, the black image. But imagine that the vibration in these patterns gets much less in nature, then these patterns become physical in nature. When they become physical in nature, you can see these getting expressed in many different designs in nature around you. If you go to a garden, you will see a flower, you will see a shell, you might see a leaf. You can see many different nature formed structures, a honeycomb. These are all based around, or these are all built upon these building blocks of sacred geometry. So if you're building a house, you need a plan. You draw a plan on a paper, and based on that plan, you build a house. In the same way, these interference patterns which exist in nature, they create a subtler form, basic geometry, sacred geometry. And this sacred geometry becomes a blueprint on which many different things which you see in this physical world, even the human body gets designed like that. So when it gets less in vibration, it takes the form of a physical structure. So what do these structures have to do with the spiritual evolution? Few of these structures or patterns, they have the ability to raise our consciousness, because these structures, they contain the energy of the universe, and they're vibrating with divine consciousness. So when you can focus on a particular structure, and when you're praying to a particular structure, you're directing all your energies into it. Then you're connecting with the energies that are there in that structure, and you're able to exchange energies with that structure. When a structure has a perfect balance of the masculine and feminine energies, when you reflect on it, when you uh, pray to it, it corrects the imbalances within your own energetic systems. The energetic balance which you see in a yantra or in a mandala, it gets reflected within your own system, and it heals your body, mind, and soul. Now, these kind of healing images, geometric patterns or images are there in the form of yantras, and you can even call them as mandalas. Mandalas look something like this. You can Google them up. There are many different kinds of mandalas. So if you're into arts and painting, you can try painting mandalas. When you're painting mandalas, these are actually very difficult to draw. Even yantras are very difficult to draw. The mathematical measurements should be perfect. So when you're totally involved in drawing yantras or mandalas, what happens is the balance with which you, precision with which you are drawing it, it gets reflected within yourself. It is a very relaxing, a very soothing, very uplifting experience, and it helps you to heal your own inner mental and emotional issues. It calms you down inside, and while you are trying to create that balance externally, that gets reflected, and that balance starts getting created within your own system. The meaning of yantra is to sustain or hold. Hold particular concept or reality or energy, and to expand that. So if you look close, the yantra has many different geometrical patterns. I just spoke about the triangle, the circle, the square, the dot. They all are the building blocks for the universe, and you will see all those getting represented in the yantra. Each yantra has a different meaning, it has a different purpose. So depending on how the geometrical patterns are placed in the yantra, it attracts a particular type of energy, and it has a particular utility value. Now these yantras, they represent each yantra, it represents the consciousness of a divine being at that level. For example, this is the Sri Yantra. The Sri Yantra, it represents everything that is there in the universe. This is the ultimate yantra. You can see that in the picture format and as in a 3D version. In the same way, here you can see the first image is of Ganesh Yantra. So this looks different, but you will see the same geometrical patterns. There are many different yantras in the images here, but all these geometrical patterns that are there in these yantras incorporate the basic building blocks, the sacred geometry which I was speaking about in earlier in this video. So the arrangement of these uh, patterns, and the meaning of these patterns is different in each yantra. So, depending on what you want to achieve or how you intend to progress in your spiritual path, you can choose a particular yantra which will help you to reach that goal. Because the yantra is built on sacred geometry, it has a perfect balance of the masculine and feminine energies. It has perfect balance and harmony. And the yantra can receive and it can transmit energy. So it becomes a receptacle of our spiritual energy. It and then it can transmit energy to us to awaken the latent codes within us. It can balance and align the five elements that are there in our body. The five elements are the earth, water, fire, air, and space. Imbalance of these energies can also create many emotional, physical problems. So it balances these five elements in our bodies. It balances our inner masculine and feminine energies. So all this brings about a lot of healing within our system. And once we have healed ourselves in body, mind, and soul, we are more capable of advancing on the spiritual path. These are the seven chakras that are there within us. And if you look closer, you will see the same geometric patterns in these chakras: the triangle, the square, the circle, the dot. These are the same building blocks on which our universe is built. So these are represent the subtle aspects of our physical body. These chakras, they hold, each chakra holds a divine consciousness. So when a person is on the path of Kundalini awakening, the chakras get activated. And when the chakra gets activated, the latent divine consciousness which is there in him, or it which was in a sleeping state within him, it wakens up. The codes get activated, and all that different geometric patterns which were there as latent codes come to life. And the divine consciousness that is present in each of these centers comes to a state of awakening. So now this person is holding the yantra which was there outside of him, to which he was praying. He now has a replica of these yantras within his own system, right from the Muladhara chakra to the Sahasrara chakra. So each chakra is like a yantra where it has the same structure, the same building blocks, geometric patterns. It holds divine consciousness, and they all are active now. So now he can use his body as a yantra. Now, this can only happen when you balance your inner masculine and feminine energies. All those ideas, all those thought processes which do not allow you to heal have to be first discarded. Once you discard those wrong, dysfunctional ideas or the dysfunctional belief systems, you remove them. And when you achieve an inner state of balance between your masculine and feminine energies, the latent codes which are there within you, the chakras which are there within you, come to life. It is only when they come to life you realize that you're not just a physical body, but you're something beyond it. And these chakras, they hold the divine consciousness. Now, once these chakras come active, you may not need a yantra outside. You can just use your chakras as a yantra. Your body becomes a yantra. The balance of the masculine and feminine energies which you see in the macrocosm should get reflected within your own body. Your microcosm too should reflect the same energetic balance. Until unless that balance and harmony is reflected in your own inner system, it becomes a hindrance. And yantra can be a tool. It can be used as an effective tool to balance these energies, because it creates a visual impact, not just visual, even a sound, because every yantra has an associated chanting or mantra to be done. So, using both sound and your light or the image to activate, and that has a very big effect on your mind, because this works in line with how your chakras are designed. The chakras are also designed on geometrical patterns, and the chakras too hold the divine consciousness, and they too hold certain sounds within them. So this is similar to how a yantra works externally. So you can use an yantra very effectively to channel your energies and to use divine energies. We are not just physical beings. Within our subtle system, we hold the sacred geometry, the triangle, the square, the circle. You can see all of that in our chakras. And we hold the divine consciousness at every level, at every chakra. These are called as archetypal energies by few, and few see them as gods and goddesses. And our subtle structure even holds the sounds of the universe. We have them as syllables in our chakras. So we are not just the physical form. We are only a physical form until we wake up to our inner divinity. And when we wake up to our inner divinity, we can see beyond the physical form. We connect with the higher divine power, and we're able to channel and receive energies to the universe and from the universe. So, for all this starts at balancing our masculine and feminine energies and coming out of our lower ego mind. I wish you all best of luck on your spiritual path.